Witnessing a lot of nonsense. Welcome to the show, everybody. I appreciate you being here. Tell the truth. Share the video. Go ahead and hit the likes button. I see we have Alicia in the house. I thank you for being here. X-Men Rogue is in the house. Solani, I see you in the house as well. Appreciate you being here. Let's get into this issue. As you know, the Tupac trial has I think it's in what we just got through day 3. It is must see TV if you haven't had a chance to really check it out. But the area that I want to focus on is this guy who goes by the name of Mob James. And I want to give you his real government name because, his real government name is James McDonald. OK, and I know you all are familiar with Keffe D. These guys were gang members, old school gang members. I think James McDonald, a.k.a. Mob James, was a member of the Pyru, I believe, Bloods gang in L.A. And, of course, Keffe D, Keffe D Davis had his connection to the Crips in Los Angeles, California, the Compton area, what have you. This man, Keffe D, and I want to put him up here. I want to tell you a few things about him that came out in the trial. If you haven't been watching it that close, you will see that. Let me put him up here. Keffe D. Let me do this. Hang on for 1 minute. I want to fix something. Right here. Boom. There he is. I wanted to put him up there. Some things I want you to know about him that I didn't know until I watched one of the federal detectives. A lot of people, I think the streets in Los Angeles already knew this, but Keffe D Davis was an informant. He was a Fed informant. That's the reason why he never has been prosecuted and put in jail into now he's being prosecuted. He cut a deal with the feds because they were investigating both the Bad Boys record label as well as Death Row. They really weren't concerned, according to the Fed, who got up there today and testified. He was a young detective, a young investigator at the time. He was older, but he recognized everything. He said, "Hey, I'm from them streets. I know how the streets work." He said, which was very revealing. They didn't have a problem with Keffe D getting on podcasts and talking. The only time they would have a problem with him talking is if he said something that that was incriminating himself. And he did incriminate himself because he was talking too much. Everybody said that, oh, he had immunity. No, he had a deal with the feds that only would stand up if he had incredible information that he can give them. Come to find out, this man, Keffe D Davis, and you see, that's the way he was looking when he looked at Mob James, who he did not like when Mob James was sitting up there talking. And Mob James tried to maintain his street code. Here's Mob James right here. You know what's a shame about this, everybody? We got 66-year-old men. This man is 66 years old. And these dudes are, I would say, they're just burned out gangbangers, gangsters, whatever you want to call them. And he said he was trying to change his life around. It's a shame when you're 66 years old and you have to be called to the stand to talk about some street shit. Because as much as people love Tupac and think that Tupac was on the level of a Malcolm X or a Dr. King, which I don't think he was, Tupac did not lose his life because he was doing something revolutionary like Dr. King or Malcolm X. No, he died or was taken out of here over street shit, gang shit. And the thing about Tupac is that Tupac was never gang connected from the get-go. Even Mob James said that. But this is the thing about both these guys. Mob James is a fed too. Okay, he's another informant. Okay, even Suge Knight from prison said that these guys are up there on the stands lying, not telling the truth. He said that this man Mob James never even worked for Death Row. But Keffe D was an informant, y'all. This dude was flying out to New York with the feds on the plane, hotel stay, the whole 9 yards, with the goal to catch something on P. Diddy. So when people say, well, P. Diddy might have had something, there may be something to it. They wanted to see what was the connection of Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records to both the untimely passing of Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur, ladies and gentlemen, he died. He lost his life over street stuff. There's a belief out there that the reason why Tupac, and I think they talked about this during the trial, that one of the theories that reason why Tupac lost his life is because Keffe D and that set of Crips, they had a problem with Suge Knight, that they really wanted to take Suge Knight out. And it just so happened that Tupac was in the car and this is the rumor, that he tried to get to the back seat, and that's when he took bullets. Tupac died. Unfortunately, he lost his life over street Negro shit. Not over fighting for the rights of black people, not over fighting against the system, even though, he's got music, even though when you hear him in interviews, he says very powerful things. But Tupac didn't lose his life because he was fighting against the man. He lost his life because he got himself involved with Death Row Records and all the gang energy and the gang connections that were there. He didn't have these problems before he got connected to Suge Knight and Death Row. And now we're finding out that through this trial today, the Keffe D was nothing but a damn informant. And that's why I thought, why did Mob James sit up here and act like, oh, I don't want to say anything because I'm going to incriminate this man. By the fact that you said that, you automatically incriminated him. How's everybody doing in the chat room? I appreciate you being here. I think Reggie set him up and the police took him out. I'm watching the trial. Reggie's body language said, yeah, Reggie was a off duty or was a cop, right? He was a police officer, but he was dirty. There's a lot of police like that in Los Angeles, a police who have grew up in the hood. They grew up around the gang. You grow up, you can't control the neighborhood that you grow up in as a kid and the people in it. When I was growing up, I knew people that were into a little bit of this and a little bit of that because you grow up in the neighborhood. So Reggie was one of those cops who grew up in the neighborhood, got friendly with some of these members. He associated himself and he was a crooked. He's crooked too. And he's on YouTube running his mouth. But I'm here to tell you, I listened to the trial today, and it is no doubt in my mind, after the Fed said that this man was an informant, and Keffe D is the one that according to the reports, he's the one that put the whipping in the hand of Orlando Anderson, his nephew. He put his nephew, now the nephew is wrong for whatever he did too, but this man, to show you what type of coward he is, and he was already a informant for the feds, he put the whipping in the hands of his own nephew, putting him in jeopardy of a charge. And then his nephew was too goofy to do the deed. But this man was flying out. It was reported today in court, not no speculation. This came out in the court that Keffe D was nothing but an informant for the feds, y'all. Do y'all hear me? for the feds. He was nothing but an informant for the feds. That he was trying to get death row and get something on P. Diddy. So P. Diddy may indirectly or directly have a lot to do with what's going on. He's in prison now, but I wonder if they're going to have to bring him in, transfer him from New York out to Nevada. Because come to find out, Keffe D was trying to get P. Diddy in the mix with this. This all came out. So this whole time, this Keffe D was nothing but an informant. And he did it because he wanted to, he was willing to sacrifice himself because he didn't want his family mixed up in whatever mess he got himself in. The whole thing is crazy because you got grown ass men, right? Who are supposed to be, they're in their 60s. And they're called, I'm saying to all black people, it's black men, black women, don't be a 60-something-year-old or 70-something-year-old person, decrepit, on a damn trial, talking about, well, I changed my life. He changed his life, and here he is sitting up here with them blood colors on. You see that shirt he got on? Here's a man that said he's changed his life from this activity, but look at the shirt he's got on in the colors. And then he called himself not trying to incriminate. He did not want to criminate one Keffe D, who gave the whipping to his nephew, Orlando Anderson, to do the deed, was an informant with the feds for a number of years. And it also showed you that the system never gave a damn about Tupac because they really were trying to do what? Get the RICO on both Death Row and Bad Boy, because you could get more. You want to follow, as the agent said today, you want to follow the money. You want to go for the money. The hell with the murder. Murder is a legal term. We're looking for the money, honey. Keffe D was running his mouth on podcasts because he was able to do so. So for a lot of you out there that say, why was Keffe D able to run his mouth on podcasts? He did it because, one, he felt emboldened. He wanted to make money off of his story. He came out with a book, remember? But he also knew that he could do it. But the problem is he got too cute and he started giving out information. And the reason why I can say this, because if you looked at the trial today, that brother that was the federal agent that was speaking, he sat up there and said, look, I know how the hood works. I'm from the streets. I'm not getting involved in this and that. He can do all the podcasting he wants. He says, I'm not going to be on no podcast talking about this as a federal agent because I know how the streets are. He said they had no problem with Keffe D speaking until he said things that they felt that, hey, now we got to investigate. And so that's what got Keffe D in this mess, because he ran off at the mouth. He had a license to run his mouth, or he felt he had a license. And then when he said too much, that's when they had to come in and swoop him up and do more investigation. That's when his whole deal with as an informant went down in the tank. It went down in the tank because he could not keep his mouth shut. Now, here you got an older black man at 66, Mob James, a.k.a. James McDonald, talking about how he didn't change his life. But in trying to not implicate Keffe D, he didn't want to implicate this man because he's playing by the street code. But wait a minute. This is my question. This dude, Keffe D, didn't play by street code when he became an informant. So if the streets knew he was an informant, why would you sit up there and say, well, I don't want to get him in no trouble? Unless maybe you are part of the same informant program yourself, because this man, Mob James, ran off in his mouth about Tupac, saying a little bit of this, saying a little bit of that. Matter of fact, let me show you what he said about Tupac when he was just emboldened to run his mouth too. He's talking about how Tupac wasn't a mob connected. No, you know what I'm going to do, folks? We're going to get to that video last because I have a method to my madness near the end. Let's go with the first video with Mob James.
I got to raise the word, but you asked me a question. I don't, and what I explained to them, I don't want to send him to prison. Sure. Even though we don't like each other. Sure. I don't want to send you to prison. So
he doesn't want to send him to prison. But guess what? Keffe D ain't got no problem with sending everybody to prison because he was an informant. So he didn't have any love for the streets either. Everybody keeps saying, oh, these old school cats, they play by code. Keffe D wasn't playing by no code. Let's go.
That's why I'm here where I'm at and where I am, because I changed my life.
Okay.
I'm raising my grandkids.
And you're still wearing your blood shirt.
Never to be like they papa. And here I am explaining to people what I used to be.
Okay.
I'm not proud of that.
Right. And you shouldn't.
I'm not proud of that at all. And
let me just say this, everybody. This is what kills me about these old crusty gangsters from the past. Now look, I'm 56 years old. I actually lived. I was alive. Those of you millennials or Z generation, you guys have no idea what it was like living in California or living in LA at that time, and just California in general when you had these gangs running around. I know exactly what it was like. I remember when I would go down to LA, they would tell you, hey, don't wear blood, don't wear red, don't wear blue, don't say cuz, don't say this, don't say that. I'm like, damn. These old gangsters like Mob James, the Keffe D's, the drugs that they sold on the street, they've ruined many of lives out there. Many of people are not alive today, are strung out on drugs, or have their minds blown away because of these type of characters running around out there back then, who have now said, I'm 66 and I've changed of course you've changed your life. You're 66. You can't do anything anymore. Freeway Ricky Ross. I don't know why people put him up on a pedestal. That man single-handedly, along with the feds or the CIA, contribute to flooding parts of Los Angeles, particularly the black parts, South Central LA, those kind of areas, flooding them with narcotics. The crack. He did more damage. Now he'll sit up there and tell you, Freeway Ricky Ross will tell you, hey, oh, the feds were involved. Everybody gets all pumped up and say, yeah, see, the feds were involved. Yes, they were. What do you expect them to do? But then here you have a black man that allowed himself to get rich off of destroying his own people. Why are we even celebrating that guy? Why are we inviting him to speak? He did more damage to the black community. And so people like the Mob James of the world, aka his real name is James McDonald, I don't really have respect for these type of characters. I can't respect them, even when they say they've changed their life, because they've done so much dirt. And even in his 66 years of age, he didn't want to, I guess they call it, rat on Keffe D, even though he indirectly did it by saying, I don't want to get him in trouble if I say this and that. When Keffe D was looking at him like he didn't even like him anyway, because they're enemies, right? He's Piru Bloods and Keffe D is Crip. So that look right there is how he was looking at Mob when Mob was talking. He didn't like him. He didn't care. He working with the feds anyway, or he was working with the feds. Let's get back to this.
Questions that can hurt him. And like I told them, I'm trying to avoid to ask you questions that they might look at me and say something is wrong.
Well,
Oh my
let me
God.
put it this way. Let me help you out.
No nonsense. What's going on, sister?
What they want to know from you is, did you see who shot Tupac?
I told you no.
Correct. So outside of that question, right? The next question I'm asking you is, when you went back to Compton, was it like a Southside Crip shoots a Pirate Blood, and then a Pirate Blood shoots a Southside Crip? Is that the tension that we're talking about?
Do I answer this?
That's a very hard question. It's a yes or no answer.
Okay.
He don't want to answer.
When I was a part of that. Like, I was a part of that. And I was, because you asked
You just gave yourself away. Wait, this is why going to school, getting an education, and not living this gang lifestyle is a better choice. He didn't want to answer the question, but Mob, you gave yourself away because you said, I was living that life. You're damn near answering his question, but you didn't want to say it outright. I get it. They must have had to subpoena him and track him down to get him up here, y'all.
Okay, let me stop.
Yeah, stop. Slow your ass down.
When we got back to Compton, it was a gang war.
Yeah.
People were getting hurt.
That's what he was asking.
People was being sought. People were looking for certain individuals from his neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's what they did mine.
Right.
But Orlando, him, and certain other people.
Orlando was his
because
nephew.
People wanted to kill them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Look at Keffe D. Keffe D. Keffe D is looking like you. You could tell Keffe D wanted to say, "You nigga." I don't like saying that word, but y'all know what I'm saying. Keffe D got that look in his face like, this nigga. Where did they get this nigga? They don't like each other, right? And he trying his best not to, because at 66 years old, he still has to he has to follow the street code. A 66-year-old man still got to play around with street code. What's going on, Jonathan Kidd? Everybody that's in here. Naps, let's see. Tupac had no friends. These are the clowns he promoted, writing, and ultimately dying. Yeah, I talked about that. Let me just say this one more time before I get back to that video. I said this very clearly, everybody, that Tupac didn't die doing some Dr. King stuff. He didn't die or lose his life over fighting against the power like a Malcolm X. He died off of common street nigga stuff. Street gang, dirty in the, nasty work type, gridlock, nasty work in the streets of Los Angeles. And then you got these guys fighting over some goofy chains. You know what always trips me out about this, folks? If you believe this, some of us were brought over here in chains, and then we want to put chains on our neck and then fight over a chain and lose our life over chains when some of our people were brought over here in chains. The psychology of that really trips me out, y'all. The psychology, y'all. Let's get back. Keffe D got a look of, I don't like none of y'all. Let's go.
In here. No, they weren't the only one. It's his neighborhood in particular. But they were the main subjects of a gang war. They was in the middle, such as me.
How's my audio, folks? Put sevens in the chat room if my audio sounds good.
Somehow had
Jay the Informant's in the house. 66 years old. That's a damn shame.
a bunch of other people were involved in what?
In the murder of Tupac.
But my question to you,
Look how he's acting. A 66. Look. Keffe James is looking at him just like this, y'all. This is a 66-year-old man damn near having a fit in court. This isn't look, I'm just keeping it real with y'all. As a black man of 56 years old, no black man of his age or older, and even my age, should be in a situation where you in court and you talking about gang activity. It's pitiful that that some of our people had to or got themselves involved in this gang activity. And I understand that people are born into this shit because people grow up in neighborhoods where they either join the gang because that's what's in the neighborhood. And then there's people who were not a part of gangs, but they associated with people that were. I'm that such person. I grew up in a neighborhood where there were people that were into this, into that. I knew them because why? They went to school with me. I played at the basketball gym with these guys. That's how I got to know a lot of guys that they weren't living the clean life. I met them just playing basketball. They would come to the gym and I knew what they were into, but I didn't go down that pathway. I didn't hang out with them at them late nights. I didn't get involved in that. But I know that people, you grow up, you can't control the people. Sometimes you can't control the environment that you're in, but you got to figure out how to control your mind so that you don't go down that pathway. And it can be difficult for some people. Now, I deal personally, let you guys know right now, I'm not talking as someone who doesn't know anything about gangs, that I've never been around the environment. Matter of fact, not to go too deep in details, but the kind of work that I do, I deal with every gang known to America. Bloods, Crips, MS-13, Norteños, Sureños, Aryan Brotherhood, you name it, I've dealt with them in my work capacity. So I'm not talking as someone who's never been around gang and never talked to gang members. Most of the gang members that I've talked to personally in my work capacity as a therapist, a lot of them, the gang became their family because their fathers wasn't around, certain things, or their family was in it, so they inherited the lifestyle. We know that gangs were created originally to protect one. Black gangs in LA were created out of the first group, which was the Celestines, to protect black people from the white gangs. People don't notice that most of the gangs in South Central LA, in that part of LA that black people live in, most of the gangs were white gangs, and those white gangs were terrorizing black people when they were going to those schools. And so black people had to form these gangs to protect themselves from the white gangs. Then when you went to prison, you had to create the prison gangs because prison gangs are different from street gangs. You had to create the prison gangs to protect you from the white prison gangs that were trying to prey on the black inmates or the Latino inmates. That's how this shit all got started in the first place. And then it just got out of hand. A lot of people don't know that Tukey Williams, when he was executed at San Quentin, he's one of the few of the last people to be executed in California, that when he was getting ready to get executed, he did a Crip walk. People thought, oh, he changed his life. He's reformed himself because he's writing books for kids on not how to not be in gang activity. Yet people didn't know that Tukey Williams had a son, I think at High Desert Prison, that was a Crip, who was doing shot calling for his father still. I know this from inside information due to my work capacity, that he still had the gang mentality in him, even on the day that he was going to his execution. This lifestyle becomes a lot of these people, to the point that you got this 66-year-old man having a fit in court because he wants to protect his rival gang member. Interesting, at 66 years old.
Clear, okay, for these people. In terms of that information, none of those people were there, right?
And what people you be speaking on? The people that was already in the neighborhood, or the people that left Las Vegas that same night Tupac was shot to go home, bare their arms, and go to somebody else's neighborhood to look for somebody? They had to pay it back.
So once again, my question to you is that the information that I'm asking about is the people that back home, you're saying were eyewitnesses to this?
How could people back home be eyewitness to something happening in Vegas? No, that's not what I'm saying.
The people that were here in Las Vegas, this is my question, sir. The people that were here in Las Vegas, you're telling me were eyewitnesses to what happened and went back home. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling you, the people that was at 662.
Just answer my question, sir. Yes or no? Is it
Answer his question.
You trying to tell me to say something that you're not going to understand if you let me explain it to you.
You see right there? For some reason, old James McDonald, a.k.a. Mob James, is playing by the street code, which is I'm not even going to rat out the man that's my enemy that's looking at me like this. And tells the lawyer, if I say this, it's going to make me implicate this man. This is a hell of a thing. This is must-see TV. You couldn't write a script any better than this, y'all. You couldn't write a script any better than what we've been witnessing these last few days. And today, I think, was the most powerful because we got to learn how much of a informant Keffe D was, which is why he had never been prosecuted. He should have been prosecuted many years back. But the Fed were more interested in getting a RICO on both Death Row and Bad Boy. Very, 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 very interesting. Let's get back to it. This is crazy.
Answer my question.
I'm not answering nothing.
All right, y'all. Let's go to the next video. He said he ain't answering nothing. And then let's continue on with this right here. Let's go.
My question to you is this. You didn't know what happened that night because you weren't there.
I was at 662.
Right. Do you know who was that was there?
I know everybody that was there.
Okay. Like who?
Look at that. This man does not.
Talk to your lawyer, man. This dude is tripping.
Wait a minute. He's telling Keffe D to talk to his lawyer. Keffe D is looking like this the whole time at him like, I don't like you, nigga. He don't like you. Why would he talk to his lawyer? He don't like you either way, because either way either way your body language, your behavior is a dead giveaway to the situation anyway, man. Your whole body language gives it all away. You thought you were trying to play street code to save this man's life, but in a lot of ways, you made it worse. And let me read this right here. It's the play. Keffe was not there, and James ain't saying it. Just to make you think that, to make you think that he's important. But this is the thing. I'm gonna play y'all an audio clip from TMZ of Suge Knight, who said that he said everybody that's been testifying is lying. Now, we know that Suge Knight is a shady character, take everything what you hear from him with a grain of salt. But he said that this man, Mob James, has never worked for him and doesn't know why Mob kept saying that he used to work at Death Row. He said this man was hanging around wanting to work, but they never put him on because he said he was a lame. And I think there's some rumors that he might have been an informant as well. I don't know. Rob, a.k.a. Finance, says the lawyer in the black are laughing. Yeah, they were laughing at this. They say when people laughing like that, it doesn't bode well. It doesn't bode well for the man that you're trying to defend. So the whole situation is bananas, y'all. Let me read some more. We got here, let me see, Nap saying here, maybe he's doing this to protect his kids who may suffer his sins from. Yeah, that was also, I heard a lawyer I was listening to today saying that when Keffe D cut his deal, he was focusing more on saving his family. He didn't care about everybody else. And then that's another reason why he moved out of the South Central area, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Welcome, everybody. Suge, a bully, but he loves Pac. He took a bullet to the head. Now, going back to what I said about Pac, the rumor right now that came out of this trial is that the reason why Pac may have gotten hit with gotten his life taken away because part of it was that they really wanted Suge Knight out of the picture. And that's one of the theories, that they wanted Suge out of the picture, maybe both him and Pac, right? But at the end of the day, this whole conspiracy was against Pac. And if they could have taken Suge out, hell, that would have been a bonus for those, because the rumor is that P. Diddy didn't like Suge Knight, and Suge Knight didn't like P. Diddy. And there was this whole rivalry between these two labels, you see. So the whole thing is it's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. Let's get back to some more of this right now. Here we go.
I'm not going to explain that. I can't answer that. Like I explained to everybody in here. You ask me something, I'm going to be honest about it. You ask me something I don't want to talk about, you're going to have a problem. Treat me as a hostile witness. You're not going to talk to me and tell me.
Yeah, baby mama, that's right.
What I have to do up here. I'm not going to send him to prison. You are.
So the accusation now is because of the fact that we're trying to ask you questions, you're blaming it on me.
You asking me questions. If I just like answer your questions, we gonna have a problem in here, a misunderstanding. And you're asking me something that wouldn't be good for him.
Right. And once again, I just want to, we're just trying to figure out who shot Tupac.
Now, what do you think is going on, everybody? Make sure that you leave comments in the comment section of this video. Why? Now, I said on the thumbnail, is this street code? Is this the street code that says you not only can snitch on people who you can't snitch on your boys, and you can't snitch on people who are supposed to be your enemy? I'm trying to figure this whole thing out. You don't want to snitch on a man that's your enemy, a man who wanted you 6 feet under. Can somebody make that make sense? Why would Mob James be so concerned about protecting Keffe D if Keffe D and his folks wanted them all 6 feet under because of what was going on in the streets at that time in the 90s around this whole Tupac situation, Death Row Records, the whole 9 yard? Why? He's already said that he's retired from all of this. He's an old man. He doesn't want his kids to be involved in gang activity. If everybody knew that Keffe D was an informant, right? That he was an informant, y'all, with the feds. He went to New York with the goal to bring Bad Boy Records down along with P. Diddy. They flew him out there, fed him, took care of him. He was hanging out with the feds. If everybody in the streets knew this, then why would it be bad for James to just say shit like it is? Why would that make him look bad when this dude, Keffe D, was a fad and was also his enemy? Is that part of the street code? You don't even squeal on your enemies. Unless he didn't want to bring them down, because unless Keffe D was an informant, as I said, and unless Mob James might have been in that same program with him, could there be some reason that he kept wanting to save the man by not spilling any beans, but he indirectly did already? Here we go.
That's all I want to know. At the end of the day, that's it. Right?
Was I an entourage when Tupac got shot? No.
Yeah. That's right.
Nothing else.
Keffe D ran his mouth too
I was
much.
just 62. I mean, that ain't hard. That's easy math.
No further questions.
No further question, Your Honor. Jesus Christ, he says. So what do y'all think about that? He's sitting up there. I don't have nothing to say. But then he had a lot to say about Tupac. Now, I'm going to say this again about Tupac. I want to do some status correction here. We know that Tupac was born in New York. Tupac was involved in acting, writing poetry, what have you. He went to School of the Arts in Baltimore, Maryland, where he met, you know, what's her name from that used to be on Different World? Will Smith's crazy Jada Pickett, right? He met Jada Pickett in Baltimore at a school of the arts. So Tupac was never, if you look at Tupac's background, he didn't have a background of being a thug life. That's not really what he was trying to do. If you look at his earlier pictures, you could tell he was just a regular black kid trying to make it in life and had talent and wanted to do some acting, some writing, some what have you. He was talented. Now, when he left Baltimore, he came to Northern California. He didn't live in LA. He didn't grow up in gang culture in LA. He came to Northern California. Northern California is very, very much different than Southern California. Do we have gangs up here? Do we have people that they have gangs in LA? We might have neighborhood cliques in Northern California. Right? So when he came to California, he was living in Marin in the Marin projects. Then he found his way over to Oakland when he was with Digital Underground. Now, Tupac wasn't doing gangster music. He was involved in Digital Underground. Look at that picture right there. That's from way back in the day. Tupac is to the far left. When he joined Digital Underground, before he started doing the rapping, he was a dancer. Digital Underground was not a rap group out of Oakland, California. They weren't a gangster group, right? They weren't promoting gangsterism. They were I consider a party rap group. They were a party rap group where they played heavy tunes and they got you dancing and got your feet moving and say things like, I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom and shit like that, okay? They were a group that was into having a good time and fun and party. That's Tupac was in this group as a dancer first, and then they start letting him rap, and that's where things started to take off for the brother when he started rapping. It wasn't until Tupac got himself in some trouble, went to prison, then you had Suge Knight that came to save him, to help him out, right? And then Tupac got involved with Death Row Records, and that's where all the gangsterism started. That's where all the thuggery and all this kind of gang culture. He was never a gang member or a part of that culture, never grew up in it. So when people keep thinking that Tupac was this gangster individual, I hate to bust your bubble. That shit was all an act for selling music. All of it was nothing but a projection of creating an image for himself that sold, because he was not mobbed up, even though he got these tattoos. And here we go. Old man Mob James didn't want to talk about this on the stand, but he certainly blubbered his mouth to Vlad TV. What I don't understand about these guys, these gangster types, these tough guys, right? If we ask them questions, they look at us like we funny. But then they're willing to go on these shows and spill all their guts to white people, to a white podcaster. You got, what's that, Adam 21, the Jump, whatever that Jump 21 crap. Why do these guys go to these white podcasters and then spill all their guts? Keffe D was on Vlad TV spilling all his guts. Listen to this right here. A memory lane. He's gonna look a little younger on this and a little bit more gangster on this. Check this out.
I think Tupac went a little overboard and really thought he was one of the homies.
Well, he got the tattoo.
Tattoo don't mean nothing. Listen.
Yeah.
I mean, some people say that it was money over bitches.
It was an MOB tattoo, which he should have never had. He ain't never claimed the hood. He ain't never been in the hood. He ain't never fought for the hood. That's some. I want to be from the hood. Putting the hood on his records, and you in the studio and you get a tattoo. You didn't come to the hood and ask to have that tattoo. The homies gave you that. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the situation that he was in. He was hanging. He was making money. They was chilling. So they accepted me. But you can't just bring him to the hood like that and say he from the mob. Me personally.
Now you see how he had no problem spilling his beans about how he looked at Tupac, saying that Tupac wasn't a gangster. And look, I'm not going to be in conflict with what Mob James said right there. No, he was not. Because when he came to Northern California and got involved with Digital Underground, they was into party rap music. They weren't doing no gangster. Matter of fact, gangster music hadn't really taken off quite a bit. It was mainly NWA that really got that shit going and grinding it up. But at that point in time, Tupac was an unknown entity and he wasn't doing no gangster stuff. It wasn't until he started getting around that gang element in Los Angeles that he started taking on and trying to come up with this persona that never really was him. And I'm going to say it again. I believe if Tupac had never been involved in Death Row Records, had he been able to get out of Death Row Records before this whole thing happened, he might still be alive today. Remember his cousin, I think a female cousin, Art, the Art of the Dialogue, did a interview with Tupac's, I think, cousin. And she said that Pac found out that the houses that they were living in Calabasas, that they didn't own them. Remember, he was living in Calabasas, and he found out that the homes that he was living in, that Suge, I guess, that Death Row Records, the company, still owned the homes. He didn't own the 2 homes that he had. When he was trying to look at his royalties, they were just throwing cars and jewelry at him. I believe Tupac is an example of a brother who missed his destiny. His destiny was probably for something a lot more greater, but because he was caught up in trying to fulfill his debt to Suge Knight, because Suge Knight spent money to get him out of prison early or to pay some of his restitution. The minute he got out of prison, he started making he made that double album because he was trying to pay back his debt. And then eventually there was rumors that he wanted to get out of Death Row. Being in I think if he would have stayed his ass in Northern California, he'd still be alive today. I think that element that he was around down there, and I believe what Mob James just said right there, that he was never a part of that, but he was around the element. He got accepted because of who he was and the music that he was producing and the popularity that was growing. But ultimately, the price that Tupac paid was his life. I also wish that Tupac would have listened to his girlfriend. At the time, he was in a relationship with Quincy Jones' daughter. She wanted him to stay in the hotel with him and not go out that night to party with Suge Knight. I wished he would have decided not to go out that night and stay with his woman. There's so many possibilities that could have changed this whole thing. Now, let me play an audio from Suge Knight saying that these Negroes, according to Suge Knight, are all lying in court. From Keffe D to Mob James, he's saying all these people are not telling the truth. He said Mob James never worked for Death Row Records. He says he doesn't even have a Death Row chain. I think that was the equalizer, that if you were a real Death Row affiliate, you would be blessed with the chain that he gave out to people. Let me let y'all hear this audio. It's very revealing. Check it out. Suge Knight.
Was the most incredible person you can have as a friend, as a brother, and still today, his morals. Number one, all these guys praising themselves. No. Number one, James never worked for me, never was head of security for me, and I can see he's a little bitter because Tupac put him on his pocket before. But the most important thing is that they're not coming in to get the truth. Everybody knows he's an FBI informant. Everybody knows he's a rat.
What did I just say? Didn't I just tell you all that? Isn't it interesting that Mob James was struggling to want to throw Keffe D under the bus. He said, if I say this, I say that, I hurt this man. We already know that Keffe D, and especially was put out today in court, that this man had been an informant for a very long time, to the point that he was being flown out to New York, going out there with the feds to try to bring Bad Boy Records down in P. Diddy. And now Suge Knight, if you believe what he said that Mob James was also a fed as well. Would that explain why he did not want to say anything about Keffe D, because they both was on the same program? If y'all know what I mean, let's hear some more.
Tell the truth, don't. Keffe D anything.
So
See?
hold on. I just want, you're saying that James McDonald, the guy who testified, said that he worked for Death Row Records, talked about what he saw that night. You're saying he did not work for you at all?
No. Now, he might have been at the club hanging out trying to hustle people and not putting the guy down or nothing like that, but he's an informant. He didn't work for me.
Oh, my God.
If he worked for me, he would have had a death row chain. He would have had a ring. You would have seen him in pictures around us hanging out. No.
I believe Suge.
You have, it's time for a change. You have people who've been talking to me like Universal for doing a movie, a documentary, to get all the information from my side, because I am Death Row, to talk about Death Row. Now they want to do with Snoopy, which I'm going to sue this stuff, because you have a lawyer that David Kenner gave all my files to and gave it to him to use my stuff. So
now this is the deal. He doesn't like, basically, remember Tupac had a falling out with Snoop Dogg. When Snoop Dogg went on Angie, what's that Puerto Rican lady in New York? Angie Martinez or whatever, on her radio show. And he said some things that Pop didn't appreciate. And so they kind of had a dip in their relationship. Suge Knight is saying on this audio that he's also suing, or gonna sue, or would like to sue Snoop Dogg, because I guess they're looking at that they want to use Snoop Dogg to come out with some type of biopic about Death Row Records. So Suge doesn't like Snoop Dogg. He says Snoop Dogg ain't nothing. And I don't care for Snoop Dogg anymore, ever since he sat up there and buck danced for Donald Trump at that, that damn event that he was at. I'm finished with him. He's canceled in my book. This is interesting shit right here. Let me read a few things that people are saying. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Rob, aka. If Tupac would have lived that night, he probably would have went back to prison, because he would have violated his parole by still hanging out with gang members and getting into a squaffle out there in Las Vegas. You're right. But he would be alive. That's my point. No Nonsense says people from New York were upset with Angela Martinez because she interviewed Tupac. Right. Good. Yeah, because remember, Tupac had said that he had slept with Biggie Smalls, with Faith Evans, and that whole thing was a trip back in the 90s. Okay, we got the real Aaron Collins says, good evening, information man and fan. Hey, thank you. Good evening to you too, brother. Good evening to you. Good stuff in the chat room, everybody. Good stuff. Y'all putting out good stuff. Let me see. Rob, a.k.a. says, if he survived, that's right, in Vegas, he would have went back to jail. Yeah. You're right about that. I appreciate everything that everyone's saying in there. We're getting ready to come to conclusion here. The whole song about it. Yeah, he made a whole song about it, and that was a trip. The whole thing was a trip, y'all. What can we say? Let's get back to this, though. Let's hear some more. This is interesting. Let's hear some more.
It's very important that people always, these guys at Universal who's trying to do these things at one-on-one, stop making people deal with street justice. We should be grown enough to deal with regular justice.
So wait, are you saying you're going to sue Universal, or you're going to sue Snoop?
Well, Snoop is nobody, but I'm going to sue Universal for taking my personal stuff. It's like when you look at it, Harvey, how is it every company that's way worse than the Death Row catalog sells for $300 million, $400 million, they offer me $700 million, but then they go and get it For 25 million, the same people who did the default judgment against me, I was the most incredible person you can have. As
Wow,
a friend,
interesting.
as a brother.
Let me end that. That's right there. It just, I find it interesting how these guys feel so comfortable telling all the business to these white commentators. It just trips me out. But I get it. He doesn't like Snoop Dogg. He says he'll sue Snoop Dogg, and if they try to make any type of money or create some kind of biopic, I think they probably will make a biopic and about this whole thing or about Death Row Records and what have you. The whole thing is a damn shame. You got 66-year-old men like Mob James, aka real name is James McDonald, member of the Pyrus, and then you got Keffe D, who's a Crip, and these guys are old as dust, and here they are in their years of their elder years when they should be nowhere in this mess. It's the most embarrassing thing, and we as black people need to keep ourselves out of this type of mess. Live a good life, y'all. Live a good life. Have an honest job. Don't get yourself involved in this kind of lifestyle, because this is what it leads to. It leads to you being some old, decrepit man or woman on a damn courtroom stand talking about how I don't want to say anything. I don't want to.
I raised the word in it, but you asked me a question. I don't, and what I explained to them, I don't want to send him to prison.
Sure.
Even though we don't like each other. Sure. I don't want to
Oh my God, man.
send you to prison. So that's why I'm here where I'm at and where I am, because I changed my life.
All right,
I'm
James.
racist.
Okay, James McDonald, you changed your life. I hope that you are changing your life, but your behavior. So I get it. You didn't want to say anything that would implicate your man that was your sworn enemy for many years in the streets. You said that, hey, that Keffe D and his Crip set was trying to take y'all out, but you didn't want to say anything against them in court. Makes me scratch my head. But then we find out that Keffe D was an informant with the feds for a very long time. And then Suge Knight accuses you, Mob, James, of being a fed too, or being what I call an informant. So this shit is really interesting. Y'all keep watching, because it's really interesting television. There's no doubt about it that it is must-see TV, and it's just getting hotter and hotter. But I want to thank everybody for coming over and joining the channel tonight. I know I wanted to go a little bit earlier than this, but hey, it is what it is. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Tell someone you love them. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed to this channel. Share the video on all your social media. If you could do that, I would appreciate that. Share this video, get it through the algorithms, and I'll be back with more presentation. You let me know in the comment section what you think about this. Make sure you hit the, not only hit the likes, but YouTube has this thing where you can, what do you call it? Where you can give it points, where you can, when you can, what do you call it? Empower the video or whatever it's called. Or boost the video. Make sure y'all hit that boost. If the boost button comes up for you, hit that boost too. Give it some boost. And, but I'll be back. Peace and respect to everybody in the chat room. Appreciate you being here. James the Informant in the house. X-Men Rogue, thank you for being here. Yeah, the hype button. Make sure y'all hype it up. Hey, what's going on? Uncle Mo TV's in the house. He says, no nonsense. You're right. Let me see. Uncle Mo TV says James is a rat. Yeah, both of them are. You've probably been following the case. I know you've probably been doing stuff on your channel about it. Remember today, my brother. Remember today. There was a Fed agent. He was black. And we found out today that, I think that the streets already knew this, but it was confirmed today that Keffe D was an informant for years. And that Keffe D actually got flown out by the feds to the New York area with the goal of trying to implicate Bad Boy Records, because they wanted to get both Bad Boy, you know this, and Death Row on RICO charges. They really weren't concerned about the death of Tupac. They wanted to get the bigger fish, right? And so Keffe D was being flown out. They were putting him in a hotel, went out there with the Fed. The guy that testified today. And now we hear Suge, and I played the audio saying, all them people lying that got on the stand, and he said James lied about being a part of death row and said James was an informant as well. I say, wow, right? It's crazy, right? It's really crazy. It's crazy, Mo TV. Let me see. He say here, the setup, FG. Yeah. Let me see. Let me see. What a crazy it is. The majority of us is old enough to be, fathers of the age he was back then. Let me see. That's what mind blowing, because he was only 25 when he passed away. Yeah, too damn young. Nobody should be passing away at that age. I'm sorry. Make sure y'all hit the hype button. I appreciate that. Uncle Mo TV says, I was stationed in Cali and I met some of the Pyrus back in 2005 and they told me James was a CI. See? Thank you. Thank you for adding more validation to the video tonight, Uncle Mo TV. I appreciate you, my brother. If I had my clapping machine, I could touch it right here. My mixer's way over here somewhere. If I could hit the clap button, I'll have to set that up on my hotkeys next time. All my other special effects when I go to this setup like this. But I appreciate you coming in and validating what I'm talking about. And I knew there was something strange about this guy when he got up there talking about, I don't want to implicate him. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. I said this earlier, Uncle Mo TV. He probably didn't want to say anything because they both on the same program. They both on the same program as informants. And Suge Knight said that. Even though we know Suge Knight is shady himself, I still believe what Suge Knight is saying. So with that said, man, y'all take care. Y'all have a good evening. Tell somebody you love them. No nonsense. It's good to see you over here, sister. It's been a minute. Good to see you over here too. Real Aaron Collins. It's been a minute. We got Mr. Unbreakable 2000 saying crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, MZ. Unbreakable. Y'all take care. Y'all tell somebody that you love them. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification if you can. Once again, you can also catch me on these particular socials right here. You know the socials, everybody. Right there. You can catch me on the Facebook. You can catch me on the X. You can catch me on the Instagram, the TikTok at Information Man Show. Hit the bell notification, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, because I definitely would appreciate that. So make sure you do that. I appreciate you all. And we're going to come back with more presentation very, 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 very soon, as I appreciate you all. Thank you again. And everybody take care. Peace. 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 Take care, everybody. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Miss that smile, Lord knows I ain't seen that in a while, but it's your style, so something must be up keeping you down. You a queen that must be heaven sent. Pray my soul, I must repent for not telling you what I meant and how I felt. Honestly, I'm used to throwing wishes in the well. My conscience tells me that I could have helped without fail. Actions speak louder than words, so that's a lesson that I learned all by myself. Let it know, I gotta let it know. She my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let it know, gotta let it know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for. And if Asbestos all around us, these high ceilings, and I need it, baby. Pressure it, make diamonds, I won't steal it, baby. Solid, baby. Hurts to see you crying, I know you trying, ain't no lying, baby. When I say I need you, greedy if I have to share you. It was me that all along did you wrong, thinking that I made you beautiful and strong. This toxicity, the death of me, I feel the day you're gone. The most beautiful girl I've ever known.